Good evening, everybody, and welcome on in after 2 weeks away. Feels like no time at all. Good evening, and it's Brazil for Season 7, Division 1, Round 6 of SSRL. Of course, we have now reached the halfway point. So, of course, you may see on the calendar it says one shot full qualifying. Whatever do I mean by that? Well, one shot full qualifying means you have 5 minutes in the session to set your flying lap. But if you fail to do so, you will be disqualified. Simple as. So you've got 5 minutes to do an outlap and then a flyer, and then you can retire in the... Well, you can actually retire on track, as it shouldn't be too much of an impediment to other people's times. But of course, something we will have to watch out for. But obviously, you can see on the right-hand side there, very few rounds to go after this one. Only... Let's see, is it 6? Yeah, it's 6 to go once we have concluded tonight. And of course, we will have a full qualifying at round 11. Of course, we are doing the full 12-round calendar. It will be a 12-round season. All confirmed a few weeks ago, I think. Last time out in Singapore, we had Rush the Series taking the win with Andy Andre having settled for second best. Eugene the Scotsman taking third, with Scott taking fourth, with Moksha taking fifth. Driver of the day went to Moksha, as Andy Andre secured the pole position, of course, with taking fastest lap as well and setting the lap record. All of those, and of course, going into your driver's standing tonight, though, it's a very interesting picture. 2 points separate the top three, with Rush the Series and Herman equal on points, and Babish 2 points behind after a horrible race last week in Mexico. It's Moksha and Andy Andre to round out your top 5. Then it's Andrew, Race Chase, Bards, Verstappen, and Mr. Router, with Energetic, Quincy, Ryan Brooks, Kavachka, Tark and Gino, Flip Lamsram, Cranchorg, Quan, and Shaggy, rounding out the rest of your full-time drivers, with Danger David, Salvi, Pleasant Snake, Fellow Son, Truckster, and Jolly Boy John lining up as your reserves. Going into your team standings tonight, which haven't been properly adjusted. My apologies about that. Let me just fix that real quick. And just while I'm doing that, we can certainly say that Alpine are on top there, but only by a whole 7 points. The Williams and then a Ferrari is about, let's see, that's 16 points behind there in third place, but Aston Martin and McLaren overall 7 points behind between those two. So the top 5, or the race for third, hiding up there. Ferrari can maybe get a bit of separation thanks to Rush the Series performances, and then go from there. Then it's Red Bull, Mercedes, Racing Bulls, Sauber, and Haas. They have very tight battles up and down the constructors' table. As we go into tonight now, at the most perfect timing, 17 drivers to pass away your evening tonight, and we will soon be hot underway for our half-distance Grand Prix. I do believe it will be 35 laps around the Interlagos circuit. Of course, first opened in 1940. At this current configuration, it possesses 15 turns at a length of 4.3 kilometers, which rounds up to about 2.7 miles. A lap record around here at the moment is Valtteri Bottas in the W09 from 2018, a 1:10.540. I think that got beat though over Sunday. I will have a quick check of that, of course, just before we conclude qualifying. But otherwise, that will be the record as it stands for now. Your mic is really muffled, right? I know why. Is that better for you? Let's just have a quick check. Is mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check? Is that better for you? Will I have to do it? Way better, holy. Way better, holy. Okay, so we figured it out. We whatever the mic problem was, it was just a setting on the back of my mic there, so I must have accidentally knocked it, and that's why I sounded muffled as all anything. And there we go. All problem solved. We'll take it from there. But otherwise, here we go. Your 17 drivers lining up here. Both McLarens locked out by, of course, the reserve Danger David, Moksha, then, of course, Herman the German taking the win last week, with Andrew and Babish rounding out the top 5. But, of course, remember, no times at the moment. But both of those drivers full-time. Mr. Walter Rush the Series in the, well, I say sole running Ferrari, but Quan is also taking that second seat there. We'll see how far he gets. That'll be very interesting to see. And with Truckster, Race Chase, Verstappen, then Bards, Ryan Brooks, Quan, Andy Andre, Quincy, Energetic, and Takagino round out the rest of the field going in to tonight. Alrighty, so Danger David will be the one to get us underway there. I'm not really used to seeing that, but remember, 5 minutes to set a time. Drivers have already spent 1 minute of that in there, so they've got to get a lap in at the 13-minute mark. So here we go. Who will get through? Because remember, only one driver will be knocked out of this. We are following the 3-session format as of right now. So we will see. We will see one of these drivers knocked out. So no, will we see 2? No, sorry, it's going to be 2 that will be knocked out. I'm very sorry there, because I'm having to remember it is the 15 from this session that goes through. I'm just also going to make sure I am somewhere I need to be, because I realized I forgot to join a VC before I came in, and there we are. So now I am in the VC, and we can continue where we were. But of course, we are just seeing drivers go out on their flying laps. Well, onto their out laps then will be a flyer. So is Mr. Welter leading the pack, leading the 17 cars that will need to complete a lap now. Very easy to not invalidate here. The grass kind of defines the track limits, and that's not where you want to be in these full wet conditions. Well, let's move to F126 when that comes out. I believe so, yes. I don't think I'll be around when that happens, but I do believe so, because obviously I will be moving to the States very, very soon, as you all know. So, of course, just a reminder to everybody, this is my last season commentating SSRL. I will commentate it to season's end, which is now confirmed by, of course, a few dates that I do, from the few dates that I do have. And, it has been an absolute pleasure to commentate the 4 seasons that have come beforehand, and what a 5 seasons of commentary I have had with this league. Of course, thank you to Quincy for all his hard work and dedication, and for all of the work that he put in to help me prepare for my commentaries. And a big thank you to the drivers for putting on this show week to week for the 7 whole seasons they've done without me, but for the 5 I have had the absolute pleasure of commentating. A big thank you to Silly Season Racing League for everything, to be honest with you. So we'll of course see if I can jump in every now and then, but as a full-time commentator, this will be the end of my tenure. But at the moment, we're seeing Mr. Welter go through turns 8 and 9, and we'll see. He'll be the first one to, of course, set a lap on the board. Everybody else nobody really in front of him to impede the lap. But of course, I did see one driver go across the line there with 14 minutes and 30 seconds to go. In fact, one of the Aston Martins, Race Chase, hasn't moved at all. So Race Chase not going to have enough time to get a time on the board. Oh, no. Oh, no. Race Chase is done. Race Chase is done. I am sure Race Chase is done. He can't set a lap in time, can he? Now, let's just make sure everyone's on the full wets. They are. Here we go. Mr. Welter to the line. And he sets a 1:25.3, but Danger David knocks that out of the park with a 1:23.1. Ferrari across the line next. That was Quan. And he's out as well. So I think it's at the moment Quan. Yeah, Quan and Race Chase aren't going to make it. They are the 2 that are going. That's all said and done. Frustration for Quan, unless if somebody else has invalidated their lap. Brian Brooks and Mr. Rao to retire after their respective laps, but they're safe. They're going to go through no problem at all. Andy Andre comes across the line as well after missing out on last week's action. Congratulations to his marriage. Mox also retires. Verstappen obviously goes. So now we need to cut to the Aston Martin. Andrew will make it to the line. He's obviously going to be safe, as also Rush the Series does as well. 1:23.4 for him. But yeah, no, Quan and Race Chase won't make it. They are goners. They are finished. And Race Chase, well, will have to accept retirement. He has left it far, far too late. He will not get his flying lap in, unfortunately. So that really should be the end of him. And Quan as well. Is he still trying for a flyer? He shouldn't be. He invalidated. As Race Chase is now going across the line, I don't think this is going to count. I really don't think this is going to count. Herman the German with a disappointing lap time, though. What happened to him? Oh, wait. No, that's a 1:24.4. Why is he down in 15th? Did something happen with his AI? But what? Hang on, if I've got this right, Race Chase... yeah, so Quan is straight into the pits. Race Chase is a no-go, I am sure. I don't know why he's still going. I don't know if he's not read the memo. Or maybe he has. Maybe he has now. And there we go. So Race Chase just bumps into the back of the Ferrari. and that will be it. There we go. As confirmed, it is Quan and Race Chase that are out of this qualifying. We are now waiting for Energetic to complete his pit stop process now. And I will also now take the time to double check on that lap. And yes, it is still a 1:10.540 from Valtteri Bottas, knocking out the lap record there in 2018 in the Mercedes W09. So that record still stands. And just to answer Nicky's question, I will be moving to Michigan. But there are the first 5 minutes of qualifying all concluded. And it is Quan and Race Chase we say goodbye to now. Race Chase actually did have a decent qualifying at 9th place last week in Mexico. But unfortunately, is going to start... where is he starting, actually? He's going to be way at the back. He is going to be... Well, actually, hang on, we've also said goodbye to Herman. Have we? Surely not. Isn't it the 15 drivers that go through? I'm so confused. So we're not going to see Herman take any further part in qualifying. Based on the graphic that I've just been presented. I'm shocked. I think we're only gonna... Are we only... Hang on, let's wait for confirmation. Let's wait for confirmation before we assume... Oh, he crashed, says Trugster. And in fact, yeah. Yeah, Herman's not going to take any further part. Herman will start from 15th. And Trugster's saying it's because he crashed. And so that means there was not ample time to repair the car. And we're going to continue into session 2 with 14 drivers. And a big shock, a big upset there is that he is out of qualifying. And he cannot take any further part. So he will now, well, after winning it last week in Mexico from 6th, he will now have to try and recover some sort of result from 15th. Now, luckily for him, well, I say, actually, no, not luckily for him. Unluckily for him, Andy Andre is back. So now, we follow the exact same rules into session 2. First 5 minutes of the session, you need your out lap, and then your flying lap. And then, we will be underway again. So, we're going to see what happens. Now, I'm not going to... No, you know what? I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm not going to say anything at all. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about that. I've got nothing planned at all. Don't you worry, as we are seeing the Kick Sauber on his outlap embarrassingly go wide there. Energetic there, just having a bit of a moment there. That is through turn number 10 on the uphill right-hander, which goes downhill very quickly, but he shouldn't really affect him too badly. He should be able to get right onto his flying lap without much issue. Of course, luckily, it doesn't invalidate the time either. Now, Verstappen, the sole-running Haas driver, has in a bit of trouble here. They are in... Well, I say in a bit of trouble, but in actual fact, they're 3 points off of Sauber, which, of course, one of the cars we're looking at right now. 37 points, down in 10th, hoping to get off of that tonight. And Verstappen does have some good pace, so he'll be hoping to exploit that in this full wet qualifying. We'll see how he does. There's a driver there. There's a Mercedes driver coming out on the pits, leaving that rather late. He's got just enough time to set a lap. Of course, has to set a lap before the 10-minute marker of the session, and then we'll take it from there. And there's also a Red Bull coming out there. That is of Trugster. Oh, we'll just have to take it from there. But 12.5 minutes to go, but technically 2.5 minutes to go. Energetic is going to be the first to cross the line. Of course, Czech Evolution, a small bit of it, will still play its part there, but Danger David knocked out this, remember, knocked out the time of a low 1:23, set by what is the reserve driver, now filling in for McLaren tonight. And we'll see what time he can set. Had a bit of a moment here on his outlap, but no such moment through here at turn 10. And we'll see how he does. Now, to compare, I think Energetic, yeah, he was with us last week, had an amazing qualifying, but an awful race. Qualified 2nd place, went all the way down to 11th. We'll see if he can actually get into qualifying 3 now. It looked like he was in trouble just a few, well, just in session 1, but we'll see if he can improve his time, improving on any subtle mistakes that he has made. He's across like 1:23.1, no problem at all, and we will continue on as we were. So Energetic should be safely through. Few Mercs just coming through. Well, the sole running Merc there of Andy Andre. That is very tight for time. That is so tight for time. Maybe the admins will give him a little bit of grace, but not much. As Tarkangino, I think, has just come across the line as well, but invalidated, so he can't go out for another time. And Danger David into the 1:22s now. So Energetic slowest of the bunch so far, as Bavish now goes to the top of the time with a 1:22.1. Aston Martin next across the line of Andrew goes into a 1:22.6. Energetic is dropping down that order as Moksha now is the slowest time, 1:23.6. Red Bull next across the line. Is that Bards or Trugster? Let's find out in a few moments. It is Bards as he's now up to the line. 4th place. Who is next? That is going to be Quincy. Can he get himself out of qualifying 2? Oh, he absolutely can. A 1:21.8. And it's going to be Mr. Wouter next. Can he knock out Moksha? No, he can't. So it's going to be Rush the Series that knocks out Mr. Wouter, and Trugster will be next. Andy Andre as well. Both of them at the same point in the track. But Quincy will be absolutely smiling about that. Where did that come from? And over 0.3 of a second to championship contender with Herman and Barish there. That is incredible stuff. As Andy now to the line, only 10th place. He's out! The current champion of SSRL gets knocked out by Trugster. Oh my goodness me, an Energetic holding on by the slimmest of margins there will go through into qualifying 3, but Trugster with a 1:22.3 knocks out Andy Andre in qualifying 2. Well, we've seen magic happen before from Andy from that position. And well, he is going to have to come up with some more magic yet again, but with the competition around him this time, I don't think that's going to be easy. So let's remind you who is knocked out. Quincy, surprisingly top. He single-handedly knocked out Moksha and Mr. Router, but then it was Trugster who knocked out Andy Andre and Tarkangino, invalidating his flyer. Qualifies 14th for the race, so he'll be right next to Herman the German when we get onto the grid in a few moments' time. But otherwise, we will now wait and see what happens in qualifying 3. 10 drivers, 1st to 10th, will be decided in 5 minutes' time. The 12-minute countdown will begin, as you are aware of it. And we will soon be seeing drivers take to their flying laps. I just need to do a little bit of something first. Oh, Andy Andre was indeed too late. I'm just seeing. Yep. Let's see. Yeah. So everybody just trying to confirm the cutoff time. But anyway, yes. But yes, anyway. Sorry about this. Don't worry, we will be back to action in just a few moments. Don't worry. I'm just getting something a little ready. Well, what a result from Q2. Exactly. I'm very surprised. Very, very surprised. As well. But hello to ADS. Welcome on in. We'll be with you right very, very soon. Here we go. So there you go. Verstappen on his outlap. And in actual fact, a lot of drivers late to come out. They've left it with about 2.5... No, sorry. Yeah, 2.5 minutes. No, is it? No. Sorry, so they're actually A-OK because it's 12 minutes in qualifying 3. And of course, your cut-off point is at the 7-minute mark. So Andy was too late to set his time. Not that I think it'll matter, to be honest. He was still knocked out anyway. So that means Trugster was too late as well. Does Trugster get anything? Will he have some sort of penalty to serve? Because he's in this session right now. Will he be allowed to set a time, I wonder? That is going to be interesting. But here we go. Qualifying 3 for the first... Well, Verstappen is now the first to set a flying lap. Energetic, maybe learning his lesson, is going to leave it a little bit later. He is actually the next car down there. So it'll be very interesting to see what time he's got under his gloves. As Quincy is really leaving it late. In fact, there he is on the pit exit. Is he going to be in time? I don't think he will be. He's left that rather late. Well, of course, wait and see. 2.5 minutes to go. It's doable, but it is tight. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, up the right hand as we go of 6 and 7. I do believe they call these Ferradura. Well, they call turn 6 Ferradura, and then it's Laranja through here. And then the right hand... I'm not even going to try and pronounce some of these corner names, because honestly, some of them are beyond me, and that is my bad there. I should really get down in the Portuguese textbook, because this is such an iconic track. And it is worth learning corner names for a venue like this. Of course, played host to classic Grand Prix, such as one from 2012, which of course decided Vettel's, what was it, his 4th championship, I believe? It was his 4th. Because he only won in the Red Bull car. He never actually took a championship in the Ferrari. Which, of course, was a real shame. But anyway, here we go. Verstappen to the line. It is a 1:21.995. Of course, it will be Energetic next across the line there. Verstappen takes to the AstroTurf to get out of everyone's way as they finish their laps. 8.5 minutes to go. Everybody on a flyer. And Quincy is the one who left it the longest. Where is he coming through now? He's just gone through turn number 3. An exit speed of 174 miles per hour as Energetic invalidates. Energetic will not set a time. And now, we cut to what should be, Quincy's teammate Babish, of course, 2 points down on Rush the Series coming in tonight. This qualifying will be a good first step, and he can't get pole. He has to settle for 2nd place for now, but Ryan Brooks cannot do any better. And it's the Aston Martin of Andrew next across the line who takes 3rd place away. Everybody will be keeping an eye on Quincy, though, who set a 1:21.8. Verstappen was not far away. But is it too little too late from Quincy? Cautions in sectors 1 and 2 for slow-moving vehicles. And Danger David with a 1:21.6, fastest of the evening so far. In fact, I think Trugster's coming to the line next. It was Bards who was next there. He goes up into 4th. Rush the Series with a 1:21.4. He's on pole for now. Trugster in 2nd place. He won't get pole. And now, Quincy up to 4th after a 1:21.774. And Energetic, of course, sets no time at all. And, well, unfortunate stuff for him. But otherwise, that will conclude qualifying. Now, if you thought that was entertaining, well, wait until you see what I've got in store for you, because I've been a bit evil. I'm being a bit evil tonight, and we are going to do a reverse grid in Brazil. Exit light. There you go. I am reversing the grid here in Brazil. Qualifying is nil and void. If you're on pole position, guess what? You are starting from the back. I have been allowed to do this under the rules of the admin. And we are reversing the grid. Are you sure, Truxter? Yes, this time Truckster actually gets one of his best qualifying results again, and it's a reverse grid. Because, of course, it is. And yes, it will be a lobby restart in this case. So, guys, we are going to be right back. Give us a few minutes just to get the grid set up. And, we've already gone through everything there, so I'll just put it onto a be right back screen. I'll keep you updated as to how everything is going. But don't go anywhere, because we're going to have 35 laps in a reverse grid. Just to keep you updated, we are in the lobby right now. We are just getting final settings underway, and deciding the grid order will be underway in about 2 or 3 minutes at the most. Those 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, have come and passed. We are going to go for a reverse grid in Brazil. We will know your order in just a few moments' time, but for anybody disqualified or crashing out, the reverse grid does not change for them. So, if I have got this correct, Herman the German should still be starting from the back. If I am wrong, though, of course, I am willing to be proven wrong all the time, but just in case you have just joined us for the first time this evening, well, welcome on in. It is Season 7, Division 1, Round 6 of SSRL's exciting season. Of course, full qualifying has just, well, I say full qualifying, a full partial qualifying has been completed with single hot lap rules in place, which meant you needed to set your time within the first 5 minutes. And now we will even have another few minutes for drivers to get their setups ready. Strategies on the go, and we have an overcast forecast here in Brazil. Of course, I will need to see who is on pole. Let's check the race director very, very quickly. It will be Quan on pole position, followed by Race Chase in second place. Then it's Herman in third, with Tarkingino fourth, Mr. Outer in fifth, Moksha, Andy, Energetic, Ryan, and Andrew rounding out your top 10, with Bards, Bavish, Verstappen, Quincy, and Age David rounding out your top 15. Then it's Trugster and Russia Siri rounding out your 17 drivers taking part. So it actually didn't affect the order all that much at all. So everybody is pretty much starting where they should be, and Herman given a very big boost off of this. So let's see how far he can hold on. Of course, Andy didn't have the best of qualifyings, but will still start inside the top 10. So this could be a good test for the driver. At least 2 of his championship rivals, well, even 3 I would dare say, are out the way. And we'll soon see in a few minutes' time where his race could go. Of course, remember, give Andy our congratulations. He did get married, and that is why he wasn't with us wasn't with us in Mexico a couple of weeks ago. And so, congratulations to him. And I just wonder, will he be extra motivated to try and take tonight's win here in Interlagos? Well, of course, wait and see in a few moments' time. But, of course, has played host to many legendary circuits. Of course, Interlagos being, well, actually... sorry, hang on a minute. I did have a point there, and then I just kind of lost it midway. But anyway, I'll just come back to it. But just go back into the history of Interlagos. You know, the driving surface used to be unbearable for the drivers, especially between, the 1980s, in all honesty. So, F1 didn't actually... It took a couple of years out, came back in 1990, and it took a $15 million investment to improve and even shorten the track to a layout that we're more familiar with from here on out. The service remained untouched until 2007, and then before Abu Dhabi was introduced, Interlagos was always the finale of the Formula 1 season. But here we go, we're about to have our formation lap. That means we've got to bring out the music. We will run through your grid one last time, just in case if you have just joined us, but otherwise you have missed quite a substantial thing. It is, of course, a reverse grid. It is Quad in pole position, followed by Race Chase in second, Herman the German in third place, with Tarkangino fourth, Mr. Router in fifth position, Moksha in sixth place, Andy Andre 7th place, Energetic 8th, Ryan Brooks in 9th position. He always says, I'm happy to be on the podium. Can he get back there tonight? Andrew rounds out your top 10. Bards, of course, hasn't taken any further part in the formation lap, down in 11th, with Bavish now in 12th. SSRL Quincy in 14th, with Danger David 15th. Trugster, after a great qualifying performance, is sent to the back again. And then it's Rush the Series, rounding out your 17 drivers, who, of course, was initially on pole position, so the Ferraris swap position. But can Quan hold up the field to allow his teammates to come through? Stranger things have happened. Just heard my friend is moving back to her parents in the UAE for 5 years, so this really helps me to get my mind off of it for a moment. Oh, I'm sorry to hear of that guy, and welcome on in. You are about to witness, I think it's actually 35. I thought it was 35 laps, but I think it's 36 laps round this Interlagos circuit. Of course, we just had the real-life Formula 1 circus visit there. And, well, we're about to see SSRL take to the start in a few moments' time. Of course, Quan will line up the 16 drivers behind him as he slots in to a very unfamiliar first position on an uphill slope as well. So be careful with your clutch back bite points. And you should get away a-okay. Tarkangino all the way to the back there. You are in 4th place, my guy. I know you're used to being at the back, but don't worry. You can start from 4th place. You are there on sort of merit. But anyway, here we go. The countdown in a few moments' time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Brazil. That is actually a good start from Race Chase there. He should be alongside Quan going into the first turn. Oh, it's a massive spin and massive contact. Trugster and Andrew have made massive contact, and Trugster is out before he could even say smoke. And Andrew has got no front wing at all. Who has suffered the most here? 10-second penalty for Bavish for the severe collision with Moksha. It has all kicked off. This reverse grid couldn't have gotten off to a worse start for Trugster, because he is out, but for Andrew as well, will now have to spend time in the pit lane. It's only a VSC as well. No safety car has been deployed. Pronto, Andrew. Spinella. Welcome on into Anno here. Well, you have missed a reverse grid that I have called in Division 1. I thought we could entertain Interlagos because it's the perfect track for a reverse grid, in my humble opinion. But unfortunately, we've already had penalties galore. 10 seconds for both Mr. Alta and Andy Andre, so unfortunately their progress is going to be somewhat hampered when the other drivers make their way through the field. But of course, Bavish was the third driver to get one of those as well. Rather unfortunate state of affairs for those three, but Quad will lead the first lap of this Grand Prix as it stands right now. I thought Race Chase got the start he needed to get alongside Quad into turn 1, but it just wasn't quite enough, so he'll have to settle for being second for the time being, but surely VSC now isn't going to be out for too much longer. And by the time, in fact, yes, there we go. Quan is first across the line, obviously to fastest lap. Tarkangino, Bavish, and Andrew obviously all into the pit lanes for their relevant damage. And Quincy already up to 10th place there, as soon as I find the button for that. And even there's a bit of battling going on here. I can't find the right buttons tonight, chat. Brilliant, he says. Are we under VSC? We were, but we aren't now, as now we see Moksha goes alongside Rush the Siri there, championship contender, as Herman the German has just taken second place away from Quan. So Quan loses the lead of the race after leading one lap. And we now have Herman right on the tail of the American driver as Mr. Walter goes very wide there. That's of turn number 8. Now through turns 9 and then approaching 10. And now this is the Aston Martin, the Mercedes down the inside here. We'll try to do so. We'll try to get a better exit, but Walter says no thank you and pushes Andy along the outside of the track to hold on to 4th place for just a little bit longer. But of course, in all that battling, Quan is now over a second behind the top 2. So this is an important overtake for both Mr. Walter and Andy Andre equally. Can Mr. Walter set himself up for turn 1? And you see Herman take the lead of the Grand Prix at the back of your frame there, while Mr. Walter at the forefront of your frame takes away 3rd place from the Ferrari. Can Andy Andre follow suit? This will be a very important move indeed. But Quan might have DRS on the exit. He indeed does. So could Quan get 3rd place back maybe? But no, Andy just seems to have that better straight line speed. They go into contact mode, and it is Quan who's going to lose out big time, as there's Ryan Brooks down the inside of the Ferrari, as does Barnes as well, as does Energetic. So Quan is getting swallowed up there. Look at the move from Verstappen at the back of your frame there, as Verstappen had to back out of it. He was on the grass and everything, and there's a McLaren trying to take advantage of all of that, but unable to do so. He only gets past the Haas of Verstappen. And Verstappen losing out there big time, as now he has got Russ Siri alongside. Of course, the championship leader going into tonight might be getting ready to lose that to Herman if things stay as they are. But Russ Siri couldn't quite get past him. Now we're approaching the last couple of corners before the DRS zone. And that is a very wide Quan there from first to what should be now 10th place as soon as this move is completed. Here we go, side by side, through 413, through 14. And Andy Andre sets the fastest lap of the race. And now the Ferraris are going to go side by side with one another. As Siri from the outside to the inside. What a move from the championship leader. If you want championship material, there it is. From the outside of his teammate, cuts across perfectly to go to the inside of Verstappen and gets the move done. As now Quincy's under pressure from Moksha. And he loses out on 12th place there as a Ferrari. That is still Quan going wide there. Goodness me, what a start to this race that we've had. And the top 5 are actually all battling for the lead while we've been keeping an eye on that, as Babish there sets the fastest lap of the race. And while Mox just had a moment there, he's had a spin going into turn number 8 there, and he is losing ground to that pack in front he was battling with, as now Quincy is probably going to try and find a way past Quan. He'll be at the next DRS straight, but I really want to cut along here to what is going on, because, well, Race Chase will technically have this second place even if Andy makes his move, because of the fact Andy has a 10-second penalty to serve in his pit stop. And in fact, actually, speaking of pit stops, let's have a look at the tyres. Only 2 for the hard compound, and of course some of those will have had to change due to damage as now Quincy gets past Quan. That is for 11th place there, which has been building up for the past few corners there. But yes, no, rest in peace to Trugster, as he is unfortunately taken out rather early. And I would say have a DNF interview, but I've been so caught up in this action. It has been quite the it's been quite the barnstormer so far. And at the moment, just looking at Verstappen now, he's kept with Rustasiri, but I think Rustasiri will want to set his sights ahead as Babish takes the fastest up again, a 1:11.0 this time around. And I wonder if we'll see another safety car before the end of tonight. But I know what we are seeing. We are going to be seeing the championship, well, former championship rivals from seasons 2 to 4 go to head-to-head battle again. Of course, the only technicality is that Andy Andre will have a 10-second penalty at his pit stop, so Herman can afford to let him go. It will be a-okay. And he'll continue. Well, he will have the lead of the championship by the time tonight is over. If he can convert this to a win, as Mr. Wouter now goes past. Race chase there for third place. Ryan Brooks and Bards not too far off behind in their positions of 5th and 6th. And Energetic as well in 7th, doing very well in that Kick Sauber, which of course the Kick Sauber team, 9th in points. And only 3 points ahead of the Haas team. Of course, the sole running Haas driver is Verstappen, down in 10th place. So not a lot of points there on offer for the American team so far in this Grand Prix. But Ryan Brooks trying to find a way through, and Andy Andre still couldn't find a way through Herman, despite having that DRS advantage. So that penalty might be just plaguing on the Romanian's mind just a little bit. He does have a 1.5 second gap to Mr. Walter behind. There's a Red Bull there. Oh, Bards tried it down the inside of where you don't try it, and gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations for good measure. And now Energetic to the outside, even still going to be the outside as they go into the next corner. Gets the move done. Energetic with a great move again round the outside. Seems to be the memo of the evening. And now DRS for all three of the drivers battling. Andy does take the lead of the Grand Prix, but there's several battles happening. Ryan Brooks up into 4th place ahead of Race Chase. Now this McLaren of Danger David is going to go to the inside of Bards. Can't get it done. Bit of contact between the two. The Scotsman and the Brit both fighting one another in their respective machines. And, well, just so you know, of course, just to remind you, Andy Andre now taking the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix in front of Herman the German. Of course, remember, those two being championship rivals from seasons long gone. But at the moment, the action there was happening in the midfield, and we just needed to see it. But well, let's see how much of a gap he can get on Herman the German. But Herman has been looking rather pacey in the races this season. Of course, he goes into tonight 2nd place, tied on points with the series. That's really his main worry. As long as he can keep it consistent, keep it on the podiums like he is used to doing, he will be okay. And just to remind you of the tyres, in fact, Herman's already been dropped by... Oh my goodness me, Russ the Series having an awful moment there. Brings out the yellow flag momentarily. What a drift from the Ferrari driver. Don't think that's what it was built for, as Herman still has DRS to Andy Andre, so we will get 2 helpings of it. Going into turn 1, down the hill, and then through turn numbers 2 and 3, he's going to have another helping. So will this keep him within the DRS for the next lap? I don't think it will. But also, Ryan Brooks, are we finally going to see a podium? But also, is Race Chase going to be overtaken again? He most certainly is, and that was easy from Energetic, to be honest. Race Chase not putting up much of a fight there. There's now Bards holding off the Scotsman for the time being. Is still right there, and Race Chase trying to come back on the Kick Sauber driver, but nowhere to go, and leaves the door wide open for Bards there as he goes down the inside, gets the move done. Brief yellow flag. Herman the German has made a mistake, guys. Oh my goodness me, from 2nd to 5th place. I kind of said he needs to keep it consistent. There's Bards now. Oh goodness me. Oh, there's a major crash at turn, and yes, 10-second penalty for a collision with Herman. Classic, not holding your brakes. And now the 2 championship contenders, who are 2 points separated, as Russ Siri also snaps his rear on the entry. Contact, well, minor contact between the two. It's carnage out there, says the chat. It indeed is. I'm sure there was more to that message, but I'll try and get that all in a second, because this action is absolutely incredible so far as we go down to turn 1. Look at Quincy to the inside of Verstappen. What a move by the Williams, but he didn't quite have the exit, but he gets it there as Ryan Brooks is up to 2nd place as well. But this is for the championship. This is why we're taking our focus away from the front, and Andy Andre is now 4 seconds in front, but Ryan Brooks, all of a sudden, it's looking like he could be winning this race, as now Barnes is into the pit lane to replace what were, I think, medium tyres, so he's onto the hards. That might be a 2-stop from the Red Bull driver, but at the moment it is Ryan Brooks into 2nd place after Herman's mistake, and I just wonder if it was through that turn 8 where we've been seeing a lot of drivers snap the rear end, especially Bards as well, and Herman, well, might not be very happy with Bards, but I'm not sure if it was really his fault. It's might have been built by shifting. It could have been easily. But here we go again, and well, you're about to see the carnage pick up. Russ Siri now ahead of his championship rival. Of course, these two were separated, well, we're on the same amount of points, and basically now whoever finishes ahead of one or the other will, of course, take the championship lead. But at the moment, there is still a long way to go. 27 laps now. And, well, there's still many pit stops to come as well. There might be a two-stopper happening for some drivers. Of course, Andy Andre with one of the most comfortable gaps I've ever seen. 4.5 seconds, and with his 10-second penalty as well, he might not even have to worry about the drivers behind him, which are also within that championship contention. I mean, Babish was one of them. He's had 2 awful Grand Prix in a row now. Of course, remember, he was here last week well, a couple of weeks ago in Mexico, I should say, because we've had our break. Qualified 5th, could only muster 8th position. So I was hoping to find improvement tonight, but then the reverse grid, and then, of course, carnage on lap 1. It wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. But here we go now. Lap 10 out of 36. And we've had quite the Grand Prix so far, and we've still got quite the Grand Prix to go. DRS action happening again. The battle for 6th place getting feistier and feistier as Verstappen has now made his move past Race Chase. I just wonder if he might have had a bit of a mistake there on the exit of the corner, but Race Chase with DRS still will go back past Verstappen, or at least should be. They're going to go side by side, and Quincy's going to make it 3 wide into turn 1 for a brief few moments. Verstappen backs out of it and, well, allows Quincy to cap that position. But now Quincy should have the better run on Race Chase after being forced out of position. He does. He'll have that rear wing open, and look who's getting involved here. That is the McLaren of Moksha. In all of this, Verstappen doesn't know whether to go left or right. He decides to go left of the track, and he gets the move done, and it finally gets past the American. And Race Chase is just going from weakness to weakness tonight. He cannot find any sort of footing at all just to stay with the drivers. I wonder if the dirty air is really affecting him. P17 to P1 time. That honour, I think, goes to Race Chase at the moment. It certainly does. If he is to do that, I don't think he will, because of the insane pace that Andy is showing. Of course, Andy started from 7th place after the reverse grid. And, well, it's certainly been the usual Andy affair at the moment at the front of the field, but everywhere else there has been battles non-stop, as now Mr. Walter and Ryan Brooks are going to swap for 2nd place. But, of course, remember, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I wonder if these two will try and work together to bring the gap down to Andy, because Mr. Walter, believe it or not, is in a genuine race with Andy Andre here. And you can see that gap going down the straight, but no such luck when they approach the corners there. So gap at 5.8 as they go into the right-hander of turn number 6 there. But of course that gap may even increase even further before the end of the lap. But there we go. It is what it is. 3.1 seconds now from 6th to 5th. Seems like Dage David with that DRS with Energetic is helping him out big time here. Most of the drivers not taking hard tyres. Of course, the ones that have either pitted just recently or have had to pit due to damage. Of course, Andrew Bavish and Tarkangino all pitted on lap 1 due to damage on their relevant cars, but have so far continued the fight on their hards, but haven't really done any sort of job to catch up at the moment. Of course, we are just waiting for pit stops to happen. And here we go, Ryan Brooks here in the Alpine, trying to go down the inside of Mr. Martin. No success there, but Dage David making his move for 4th place. A reserve driver here, and of course leading the reserves table going into tonight. That I don't think is likely to change, as now Verstappen and Quincy go side by side with one another. Quincy's forced off. Ryan Brooks gets 2nd place. Of course, we just cut away from the action there very briefly, but now Quincy, the DRS opening, he can surely get back alongside Verstappen if he can get close enough contact between the two again. And Quincy's forced wide, but everything on the car looks to have stayed on it for the time being. Everything's bolted on. But at the moment, he is still having to hold off Quincy going into the uphill section of turns 6 and 7 and into 8. Verstappen holds off the Williams for the time being, of course. Just to remind you, Quincy set the fastest time in qualifying 2, but can only set the 4th fastest in qualifying 3. So he wants to be up and about the top 5, but it's got a long, long way to go indeed. And once he's passed Verstappen, he's got 2.5 seconds to make up. As Verstappen, they're going very wide. As Race Chase there with a bit of a mistake. Gets it back underway, but Moksha here should have that position. No problem at all. And is Race Chase going to try and fight that back? Well, he has no DRS, so it's very unlikely. You'll have to wait until the second part of the, well, you'll have to wait until the second part of the straight, which is just approaching after the center S. So going to the left-hander through here. Now it's the right-hander. There's the DRS detection point, and then the activation point is not too much longer after this. There you go. But Race Chase nowhere near close enough, and in fact, Energetic there looked like he was about to make a move on Danger David, but nowhere near close enough. And all the gaps are starting to, at the moment, just sort of really extend now. So everybody just kind of getting into their race. And, well, we're 4 laps away from the halfway mark. Of course, at lap 36. I thought it would be 35 laps because it was 71 laps, if I remember correctly, yesterday. But no, the game have decided to go with 36. Probably the nearest even number, so to speak. Although I've seen some which have 25 laps, so I don't quite know what the reasoning is there. But anyway, it is what it is. Herman German now is going to surely try and have a go at Rustasiri again. Got everything under control, and it looks like to me he's getting ready for a move as well. Well, he had no choice in the matter because Rustasiri is now going for the undercut, and I wonder if Herman will react. So let's keep an eye and see what tyre Rustasiri goes on to in the Ferrari. What can he do? It's going to be the hard tyre for Rustasiri, and there's the Williams coming in of SSRL Quincy, so he'll be peeling off to his left in just a few moments' time, and he'll also take the hard tyre. I assume that'll be till the end of the Grand Prix as David and Energetic do battle again. And, well, it is David that still wins out for the time being. And, yeah, Andy just did a race of his own, but remember, has 10 seconds to serve. And are we going to be seeing rain? Because the clouds are hovering over us. Quite dangerously, might I add. Let's look at this. Andrew looking like he was ready to make a move on Rustasiri there, but of course 13-lap-old hard tyres compared to brand spanking new ones, that's really never going to be a contest. So here we are, lap 15 out of 36, and Rustasiri has made his first pit stop, and now we need to see what the others in front do, as Herman there nearly having a rear end moment. And I just wonder if the tyre wear has sort of played a role in all of this, because it looks like those rears have gone sooner rather than later, and Herman will now react to Rustasiri's pit stop as he now slows down for the pit limit. So that is Energetic ahead of him. Verstappen and Moksha will be behind. Race Chase still going to wait for a bit longer to make his pit stop, maybe trying to go for the overcut and have the fresher tyres at the end of the race. It is a bit of a risky strategy if you don't quite play it off correctly, but now we're going to see what everybody else is onto. It is indeed hard tyres for the rest of the field, and Rustasiri, I think, has just gotten through. There he is at turn 1 through the center S's, and he has gotten past Herman there without much trouble at all. And that's going to restart at about, I would say, well, he's going to have a bit of trouble from Andrew here. Herman not really able to do anything about it. Can probably just squeeze him to the outside. He does. And despite those cold, hard tyres, Andrew stays away for the time being as Energetic gets back past Quan there, who's still yet to pit. So Quan not really involved in any of this, but might be just wanting to help his teammate. And he allows Rustasiri through. Great stuff there as Andy Andre now into the pits. But does Ryan Brooks and any of them follow through? Doesn't look like it. Oh, wait, Ryan Brooks will follow through indeed. So he's seen what's happening. He knows he can win as Mr. Martin will go through as Andy now is stuck in his pit box for 10 whole seconds. Where will he come out of it? It feels like it's an eternity when you're in there. Ryan Brooks now just pitting ahead of him, and now they've only just got to work on the car. Will the Alpine peel out ahead? Yes, it will! Goodness me, that was close, but now Energetic and Rustasiri are coming at a rate of knots into the first corner. Andy might be held up a little bit here, but so will Ryan Brooks. And look at that, the McLaren of Danger David actually got the better exit. Where's Rustasiri in all of this? There he is, and in fact, Energetic will be your new leader of the Grand Prix as soon as Mr. Outer pits, because remember, he's also serving a penalty, and this battle for the lead is hotting up as Ryan Brooks makes a mistake on the exit of turn number 4 through 5. Andy gets what is third place for the time being, but Rustasiri now is essentially fighting for the win from out of nowhere. Herman's mistake through this very corner earlier on in the race has cost him big time, and now he is playing catch up to some of the faster drivers in front as Mr. Walton now does indeed pit. And look at Andy Andre, he is like a demon possessed yet again. We're so used to seeing this. And it really doesn't get any less spectacular, but Rush to Siri will have DRS to the Kick Sauber in front, who of course has pitted, so he is in this race, and Energetic will now come across the line as your leader of this Grand Prix, and Mr. Wouter left it a bit late there and should have pitted at the same time, but unfortunately it hasn't quite worked out for him. He's now just getting on the exit, as I think there's a bunch of battles happening at the back here as well. Oh, there's one here between Bards and Moksha. Of course, Bard's the only driver to get a 3-second penalty for track limit violations so far, as Andy Andre and Russ Siri have swapped for second place there. Halfway point of the Grand Prix, and Andy is tearing through the field like no one's business, and nobody is able to stop him. Goodness me, what demon has possessed Andy Andre here tonight? Because he is a man on a mission, as Moksha has made a mistake going through turn number 6 there. He's dropping down the order. And now, are we even going to see that big of a lead battle? Because I think Andy Andre is just going to peel away. I don't really see how anyone can put a dent on Andy Andre's form right now. As well, Russ Siri is starting to use the battery. I think he knows the Grand Prix could be lost or won right here, right now. And he's right on the back of Andy's diffuser. Will he put off Andy from doing the overtake? Indeed, because Russ Siri got to his inside before anything could happen. Energetic will keep the lead to the Grand Prix for now, but Andy just gets the better exit from the center S. And will Energetic try and defend this? Well, he doesn't really have to. Andy was nowhere near close enough. And there's Herman right at the back of your frame. Even Quincy is getting close to all of this. Let's just have a look to see what other battles are happening. Andrew goes to defend from Bards there. And Bards there was looking to the outside, going into turn 4. But at the moment, he has to stay firm for the time being. And now all of a sudden, we have a Grand Prix. 10-second penalties, reverse grids, and yet we still have the guy who leads the championship right near the current world champion. But will he remain current world champion by the end of this season is another question entirely. Andy has just come alive. Clearly getting married has given him some sort of motivation. Of course, as a reminder, congratulations from all of us here, but it seems like he is just a man possessed. As always, as he's always been energetic. I don't think he's going to fight this too hard. Wait a minute. Yeah, he did. Andy Andre was like, hang on a minute. We are fighting this a little bit. So has to wait behind, and that's going to allow Rush the Series to catch up and gain a few tenths there. And, well, we'll soon see. But here we go. Herman is also going to make a move. I'll keep an eye on that leading battle, actually. And, in fact, it has just swapped because Andy will take the lead of the race. As now we cut back to Herman the German trying to take away 5th place. And that is not successful because Stage David still has that DRS. Does Energetic also have a way of fighting back? No, he doesn't. As Bards and Mr. Walter now fighting for 11th place. Mr. Walter gets past there, and there's somehow room for the American of Race Chase and, of course, the McLaren of Moksha. And both of them get through on Bards there after some sort of mistake. And he is on older tyres than the guys around him, so I wonder if that's playing a factor as well. But can that Kick Sauber keep up with the Mercedes? Of course, usually the firm answer is no, absolutely not. But of course, let's see what happens in this game. As Energetic looked like he got the better exit there. So he will have the DRS on Andy for at least another couple of zones. But we'll see how far that goes in practice. Of course, going on board, little battery left in that Kick Sauber car. I just wonder if Andy is also using the best of his battery to stay in front of the pack. And there we go, 0.6 of a second as we go into the next DRS zone. Couple of tenths there, caught by Energetic. He might just want a few tenths more as they now go down into turn 4. He gets those couple of tenths there, so it's about a 0.4 of a second. Russ Siri, Ryan Brooks, Stage David and Herman all in hot pursuit behind, as Mr. Walter now is right on the back of the American of Race Chase, who also has DRS to Quincy. Babish as well, involved in a battle he didn't think he would be in. Of course, that was really thanks to the reverse grid that I oh so kindly set up, and I was very kind to oblige there. Now, Energetic has got a bit of work to do because he's 0.9 of a second as they go through turn number 10 there. Needs to really try to keep it within the 1 second gap if he can, and I don't think he's going to be successful, you know. Well, actually, I say that because then he did actually... I think from the detection point, but there's been a major accident here. Major accident! There has been an absolute collection through there. Somehow no safety car deployed, but Race Chase is missing his front wing end plate. on the left-hand side. Andrew is yet to get back underway. And, well, we finally do. As well, what happened there? Could have been a collision between teammates there, but I don't see any damage to Andrew there. So I don't know if he was just collected in an unfortunate chain of events as our race chase has to pit again thanks to front wing damage. But also in all of that, while we were looking away from the action of the leader, Andy has gotten away by 1.6 seconds. That is incredible stuff. And actually in all of that as well, Babish is also, he's in the pits as well. Back in the pits for Babish. That's his second stop of the evening. And that is another race to forget. His second in a row he won't be on the podium for, as both Aston Martins had to pit there. And I'm just wondering who is out ahead of who. But now Bards and Quan are going to do battle for what is now essentially 12th place. But, well, Quan has that regardless as he goes wide there. And Bards will just do the over and under and say thank you very much. And we'll continue on. But now back to the battle for what is 6th place. And thanks to all of that kerfuffling, Quincy now has a gap on the cars behind him. So we've been robbed of a bit of a battle there. Rather unfortunate, but it is what it is. As now Rush the Series to the inside of turn 1. Can he keep it there? No, because there's contact between the two. This is only losing time to Andy. And now it'll be Rush the Series with DRS once they get on the exit. But Energetic is doing his utmost to hold on to everything. Squeezing the Ferrari, who's also squeezing the Kick Sauber. As now, that is second place for Rush the Series, but very wide. To the next turn, we'll probably have to give that position back, and he does. But now Ryan Brooks, and they make contact. The Ferrari's on the grass, but still pointing in the right direction. Goodness me. This is getting rather scrappy, and Herman's licking his lips thinking, yes, keep it up. I thought there we were going to see an unfortunate accident where the championship leader would have been taken out. Of course, Rush the Series has had his fair share of doing that, as he's now touched by Danger David, who loses his front wing end plate. And that is now going to be an aerodynamic disadvantage, which is what Herman will want. He needs David to have any sort of disadvantage to try and even make a move on the Scotsman, who, of course, he fought with for the Season 4 title. Of course, that was a three-way showdown right up until the end, where Danger David just got the setup all wrong and was just too slippy on the rear and could not make it. Well, he couldn't really make any moves up or down the field. But here we go, he's now fighting with Herman the German as a reserve driver for this season. Of course, it said that he preferred the pressure, well, taking the pressure off just by being as a reserve driver, as now Mr. Outer gets past Moksha for what is 9th place there. Bit of a lock-up down the inside there for the Racing Bulls driver. But now, with 13 laps to go, he has 10 seconds to Verstappen, who has 1.8 seconds to Quincy, and that might be a battle that's brewing up very soon. We'll keep an eye on that, but there are several battles here. Remember, Dandy served a 10-second penalty for speeding under VSC conditions or a severe collision with somebody else, but has served that and is now 4.7 seconds ahead. And even if we did reverse the grid, I don't think it would have made the difference, because Andy is now pretty much far away. He's gonna, well, he'll be up the hill at lap 36 unless there's another few pit stops to come, which I highly doubt. As now Ryan Brooks and Energetic are going to do battle into turn 1. Energetic makes Ryan go the long way round, and he does so successfully, but does Energetic have the resources to come back at him through the second DRS zone? Only a few more moments to go, and here we go. You're now going to see the rear wing open on the Kick Sauber. Ryan to the inside makes him go to the outside, but no difference there as Danger David is now going to try something on Russ the Series, but nowhere near close enough to go alongside that Ferrari driver. And it's Herman trying to bide his time here because he is running out of time. He will want to get past Russ the Series at the very least. Babish is just nowhere to be seen. Andy is literally a league above the rest here. And we are currently seeing the closing stages of this Grand Prix. It is a very entertaining, what is it? It's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-car battle here. Verstappen also getting closer. Moksha and Mr. Outer are exchanging for 9th position as well at the back. But we need to stay with this one. This has championship implications. Remember, whoever finishes ahead, that's either Herman or Russ the Series, will have big championship advantage. But one of these two also wants second place. But Ryan Brooks always happy with a podium. Energetic will also want that podium, knows how to fight in these situations. Ryan Brooks settles down for the time being as David goes very wide into turn 1 through the center S now. He's going to be a bit vulnerable to Herman at the back, who is now 1.5 tenths behind. And Energetic is also, I thought, was very close to somebody there, but now Herman the German, David defended it, but that aerodynamic disadvantage through the corner means that Herman is now looking directly at his immediate championship rival. His long-standing rival is just too far down the road to catch, unless if Herman the German can make magic happen and get past each driver with every lap. But of course, he will need to save his battery. It's at 45% there. You can see it on the right hand side of your screen there, and he is still putting in the work. But Rush Siri as well has done an absolutely excellent job himself. We've given praise to Andy Andrew, give praise to Rush Siri from 17th to 4th place so far. He's had an emphatic drive and played the strategy as best he could, but just couldn't hold off Andy Andre, who was, like we've always said, a league above the rest. But now Rush Siri with more pressure, with 10 laps to go as Ryan Brooks now goes for second place. Will Energetic fight this hard? He will have to remember there is a championship leading Ferrari right at the back there as well. Energetic is able to slot in just about. Can Energetic fight this back? We know he can. We saw it doing 2 laps ago. Ryan Brooks to the inside, and oh my goodness me, they're in contact, and Energetic is thrown off the track. He's spun round, and that is one less driver for Herman and Rush Siri to worry about. But Ryan Brooks a bit late there, cutting through as Verstappen made his way past Quincy as well. That is drama again between two drivers, and in all of that, I didn't see that Danger David had gone into the pits for his last time as Babish, and there's been a crash. There's been yet another crash, and Aston Martin is facing the wrong way down the start-finish straight. What happened to Race Chase there? I wonder. He's got no front wing. He is underway. And I'm surprised no intervention from race control was called. But now with 10 laps to go, this has become an explosive Grand Prix there. And Energetic, who was doing oh so well, is now fighting for his life in 5th place. And now Ryan Brooks will have the championship leader down his inside into turn 1. Can he fight this off? Bit of contact between them. It's only minor, but that means Rush Siri might be brought into the battle. It's so close. Nothing to separate them. Rush Siri, of course, gets the DRS as more cautions in Sector 2 happen for that stricken Aston Martin that we just saw a few moments ago. But now that is Rush Siri into second. He's got 8.2 seconds to gain in the next 9 laps. Can he do it? He needs a second a lap on the 5-time champion that is in front of him so far. I don't know if he can do it. Nobody has been able to do it. But maybe Rush Siri now with a gap. Now, does Ryan Brooks allow his teammate through? Or does he want that podium? Or can he think about the Germans' championship perspective? Rush Siri hasn't really made a dent in that gap so far. At 8.5 seconds, it has only increased since the series overtaken. Now we're going to see maybe the two Alpines begin to fight again. Targantino and Kwan swap for 13th place in the background there. Just to give you an idea of what's going on. 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think that means retirement, to be honest with you, from Race Chase. Although he is going to keep going. It would seem as... no, proven wrong. Alrighty, well, understandable, to be honest. Goodbye to Race Chase. Well, we will see him tomorrow for Division 2, hopefully. I was going to commentate over him in another league there, if he turned up, but he really doesn't like Monaco. And, he decided to go on his yacht there. But I don't know where you would go in Brazil. Where would you go? Is there a yacht? Is there a yacht station nearby in Interlagos? I don't think there is. I don't know. No, I don't think there is. I think there is a lake somewhere around the track, but I'm not too sure where that could be. But anyway, enough of my random ramblings. We're just seeing Kwan and Targantino swap for 13th place yet again, and I think that will come back to bite. But anyway, here we go. We are now going to go onto lap 30 out of 36 at the start-finish line, so that'll be 7 to go at the line. Andy, of course, passes the line and updates the counter, but it's these three who will be about to update their own counters. Rush Siri, can he hold off the Alpines to try and take the lead of the championship going into tonight. Of course, this is mainly damage control from these two, trying to not let Andy catch too much. 2 lakes into Lagos means between lakes. 2 lakes into Lagos means between lakes. Ah! Thank you very much, Shugster. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I probably made a note of that somewhere, and I just forgot about it. Anyway, I know my Brazilian friend isn't going to be too happy with me. Of course, please do not clip that. And show them as now, oh my goodness me, Bards and Bavish are now going side by side into turn 1. Of course, Bavish wanting to be a championship contender, but his previous 2 races have been ones to forget so far. And Bavish now is just trying to do damage control as he goes back down the inside of Bards, gets the move done. And we'll soon see what the Mauritian driver can do. But otherwise, he is currently up to 11th place and another Grand Prix to forget. As now, look at this, the battle for 2nd place is gonna be restarting as we now go on to lap 31 out of 36. Time is running out for Herman to try anything, but time is also running out for Rush Nasiri as he is in maximum, as all 3 championship contenders are in damage control. Oh, goodness me! Ryan Brooks to the outside there! Rush Nasiri pushes him offline, and every right to do so, as long as it's not unfair. That might be crossing a bit of a line, but either way, Rush Nasiri holds on to 2nd, but for how long? Well, not too much longer it would seem, because Ryan Brooks and Rush Nasiri go side by side with one another, and look at this as Rush Nasiri gives him the same treatment Ryan Brooks gave to Energetic not too long ago. And look at that, Energetic, it's actually at the back of your frame there, just approaching that battle for 5th we've been talking about. But at the moment, that's all Ryan Brooks there, losing it through turn 8 very briefly. Of course, we saw Moksha and even Herman lose it there earlier on, and Herman might be getting a sense of frustration here as now Bards and Bavish do battle yet again. This is not the fight Bavish wants to be involved with, and there might be lots of practice to come up for the next 6 rounds. Whoa, goodness me, Bards and Bavish there just giving me a brief fright as yet again Bavish to the inside there pushes Bards through the corner of 9. 8 even now through the corner of 9, pushes him again, and Bards might not be appreciating the treatment he's getting there as now, well, Ryan Brooks has yet again got his teammate up for grabs as up on his behind as there is 5 laps to go. But at the moment, no dice still as now Ryan Brooks has a good run on the Ferrari out of the Center S. Here we go again, DRS open, but still not close enough. But then as soon as we say that, look at this. Verstappen and Quincy go side by side with one another. Energetic trying to do damage control after contact with Ryan Brooks many laps ago. But it's Verstappen that's up into 5th place. Can he try and get that gap down, which has increased to 4.5 seconds to the battle for 2nd place? But it looks like that's going to stay as it is as Bavish again swapping with Bards there for 11th. That is just not changing at all. And of course, we've already said how he had a miserable race last time out from 5th to 8th. It looks like he's just gone from weakness to weakness there. Qualified 12th thanks to the reverse grid and is only up 1 position. Of course, he did have an accident. Well, he had contact at lap 1, which meant that saw him go all the way into, make his first pit stop on lap 1. So it has not been a good state of affairs here for Bavish for the previous 2 rounds, but otherwise, it looks like we'll just have to see him next week. I think I'll be able to... Oh, Ryan Brooks there with a massive mistake. Has to let Herman through. All things considered, he will have DRS on his teammate, but now Herman is left to his devices. And Ryan Brooks is now off the podium. He's always happy with the podium. It's now Verstappen and Quincy do battle yet again. As Quincy to the outside, but Verstappen has to run. As Quincy has a bit of a mistake on the exit. Through 4 and 5, they're going to remain side by side as they go inside and outside through the double right-hander. Can one of them keep it pointing in the right direction? They both do. They're going to remain side by side. And what a battle these two are having. I am surprised Energetic just didn't stick his nose in as Andrew swaps and quiet for 14th in the background. But what a move by both of them there. What a defense from Verstappen to hold on to that position as now Herman might be on the way to 2nd place. Look at this, underneath half a second. He's as close as his teammate got when he was in this position. And we might be looking at a huge dive from Herman if he is close enough. He wasn't quite close enough there as Energetic and Quincy now begin to swap positions, as well as Quincy lay on the brakes, but he's been really good at that up until this point. Those tyres might not be at their best, as now Quincy is going to be side by side with Energetic again for 6th place. Energetic and Quincy both have DRS on the car in front, but it is Energetic that wins that battle for the time being, and well, maybe Quincy just might want to calm it down and just allow Energetic to get that gap back down, or else they will both be in a battle that for 6th place and maybe not maximising the points they could score for their teams, and themselves respectively. Herman still unable to find a way through. The Ferrari of Russasirio slows it right down through turn 10 there. Of course, Cotavello, that is called. And now down to turn 11, which is nameless. And now John Carl is turn 12 there. And I think Russasirio was a bit squirrely there on the exit. That was through turn 12 and now 13 and then eventually 14. And we are going to see surely Herman. That is oh so close. And surely that means the move is on as we go on board with the Alpine. He's going to hold off for now. Russasirio taking the middle of the road, locking his front left. 2 laps to go. That means he only has 2 more opportunities to get past. And he's going to have to wait and wait and wait for another lap. He's not going to be close enough going down here into turn 4. I can tell you that for free. Now through 4 and 5. He's just going to reset, sit behind, and just watch out. He's going to have to recharge his battery, surely. Herman cannot afford to use any of it. He has got to save it all. He'll have the slipstream. He'll have the DRS. Mr. Router is the second driver. Only the second driver to get a 3-second track limits penalty. But there are other fights happening up and down the field. Energetic has dropped Quincy. Checked out from the Williams. As caution happens in sector 2. Who for? Is that Wouter? It is! It is Wouter! And he has to give up the position as now Andrew and Tarcangino are in a little bit of a fight of their own, but we need to keep an eye on the battle for second. And DeAndre is gonna lead the final lap. He is 13.5 seconds down the road. We are gonna have to keep an eye on what Herman does, though. He will have one last opportunity after this one. He's gonna set himself up. You can see how he's saving his battery. Waiting and waiting. Russasirio locks up again, but still meets the apex. Just a quirk of the physics model, I suppose. But look at the run Herman has. He uses his battery early. He's going to be to the inside. It's going to have to become the outside. As here we go. Herman to the outside. Into turn 4. Russasirio fights back. They're going to go side by side. The 2 championship contenders. Herman's off the road beyond the white line. But that's Russasirio. Here's Ryan Brooks as well. Trying to get on the podium. And Russasirio holds on for now. Goodness me, this is exciting stuff as Herman is in the back of Russasirio. Remember, these two had a bit of an awkward moment in the finale of season 3 where Russasirio missed his braking point, went into the side of the Herman, which cost him the driver's title, which in the end went to DeAndre back way and when. And speaking of, after 2 weeks away, nothing has changed. Andy wins in Brazil after getting married, and Russasirio and Herman have a moment here. There is still a fight on for second place. Going on board with the Alpine. Is Ryan gonna ruin anything? Is Ryan close enough to have a go? Herman, what? I thought he was going to let him have it, but he doesn't. Energetic couldn't get past Verstappen, and Quincy will just hold on to 7th place there as Mr. Walter will lose 9th due to his 3-second penalty. So Dage David goes up into 9th. But a race, who forgets, for Babish again. Two races in a row. He fails to finish in the top 5, but now finishes outside of the top 10 as well. Bards goes outside of the track to finish off. And how very NASCAR of him. Andrew, another race to forget last week for him. 7th place in quali, 4th place in the race, but of course due to the reverse grid, 10th place. 10th place qualifying for him, 13th place for Andrew. As well, there is actually an apology to Andrew from Mr. Walter as Tarcangino goes across the line. And Quan, well, who started pole, we didn't think he could finish there, but finishes out on track last and takes a single point for the Ferrari team tonight. What a Grand Prix that was. I honestly, I'm very entertained by that, but Andy Andre was just nowhere to be seen, and that was just a perfect But it was just a perfect race from him. Starting from 7th, thanks to the reverse grid, and just kept it going. And Truckster. By the way, there's some words there because Andy was not happy with this race, and Truckster says, not as crap as mine. He didn't even get past the turn 1 there, but of course we all know your race winner. Fastest lap was Bavish at the end. Driver of the day and most overtakes is Russia Series. Cleanest driver is Quincy. And I could already hear the words of certain someone. Hello, Quincy.
Is it possible? Do we normally go from 3rd to 1st?
No, I go from 1st to 3rd.
Is it okay if we flip that?
Yes, it is perfectly fine if we flip that.
All right, wonderful stuff. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. So we're going to flip this. So we're going to start from 3rd. Now, that's going to alter my brain chemistry a little bit. So who was 3rd? That was Herman, wasn't it? So, okay, I think we'll start with Herman, as that's where we will, but we'll do that in just a second. I was going to go through final race results, but they've just been taken away from me, so I can't do that anymore. So we'll just get started with post-race interviews, and we will now go to, well, our 3rd place runner. Benefited from the reverse grid, but couldn't quite convert it into a win. Herman, regardless, congratulations on 3rd place there. And, how do you feel after all of that?
Honestly, at times felt like a missed opportunity, but I was really struggling overall. I was quite keen on the prep I did, but then I had very cold pedals and that I felt like they were slippery, so I was really struggling with the brake. Had that lock up, the spin, and Bart's on the inside, where I feel like he was never alongside and just almost took me out there as well. So glad we changed to no floor damage and stuff ahead of the season. And I'm surprised. Like, I feel like I went with the normal approach in terms of downforce levels, and people were even running lower wings. So, even with the fight at the end, I wasn't, doing anything. Like, I was talking to Ryan throughout distance at times, and he was like significantly lower on ERS before we hit the main straight, but I just couldn't get it. And also the final turn, basically turn 12, is not my favorite. So that was tough. Also, I was a bit too much in the zone. Rush did the me from like a couple of years back where he just had that pit stop first. I think season 4 that was. And as soon as I saw him go in, I was like, shit, it's already lap 14, and the undercut window I had set for myself was also lap 14. So I lost that, and obviously wasn't in the fight there. And also the DS train was just too punishing for everyone, I think. And I'm glad a 3rd place came about. I was about to give that to Ryan as well, because without him, I wouldn't have been in that position to be even on the podium. His fights with Energetic, although that was a bit rough, and with Rush also made it even possible for me to get by. So hats off to him. On him a lot today, and sadly, nothing more than a P3 after what has been a very lucky reverse grid for me. So it could have been a lot worse for me.
And of course, there was a lot of mistakes on your end as well. Like, I remember the big one there was when you were in 2nd place. You spun out, I think it was at turn 8, similar to what Moksha had done a couple of laps before you. And it kind of nearly put the nail in the coffin for your race. What were you thinking at that point?
I was, as I said, really struggling with cold pedals. So I really have this, problem, let's say, that I can't really race with shoes. So I always go with socks. And that really didn't help because it just was too cold on them. And obviously, metal is not very well known for carrying some heat. So in the pit lane, I actually made a swap and put my usual stopper socks on as well on top. So that helped me with the pace in the second stint, but I just wasn't comfortable on the brakes in my practice races where I usually race like 1 or 2 clicks higher on front brake bias even, but I just couldn't do it with what I was given. And I also was keen about obviously making these tires last as long as I could, because moving the brake bias rearwards for some of these heavy braking zones would also increased the heat, and they were not enjoying this racetrack, especially rear right. So yeah, just an uncomfortable position. I think got the best of it. Then Bars obviously made me lose more positions, which I couldn't really fight on race pace, but consistency was still there. And sometimes you have to just pick up the pieces. I wasn't expecting to win Mexico, and P3 is also very good for Interlagos because I was fearing more, especially with that last sector, basically, or onto the last sector where if you don't get the exit right, you're just struggling to overtake anyone on the straight, and was particularly difficult today. So for me, that's a small W. I take that. I think some of the races in season 3 and 4, who I didn't like as a racetrack, were not going that well at stages. So yeah, every point counts, and yeah, obviously close to Rush and Bevish, far behind is a good omen into the next week.
And of course, just thinking about your championship, I mean, Andy Andre can make magic happen at any point of the season. And of course, taking that win by what was, I think, over 15 seconds towards the end of it. Again, you can't really count him out at any point. So is he one of the worries going into the second part of the season?
Well, he was never off my worry list because, as I stated before and have experienced myself, that he can come back. Like I was looking at previous results and even season 2, where he had like with 3 races to go, lost a huge amount of points before I had that double DNF in the sprint in Monza in season 2. So yeah, that was still a comeback and a half, and also some parts of season 4. So yeah, he's always in the back of my mind, but like in terms of the points, I didn't just mention him. So I'm gonna try to get a better feel for what wing levels we're probably gonna be running for. Imola, Vegas is probably gonna be low. Nothing to add there, but most of these tracks where you really don't have a choice, I think I'm gonna be good. But if there's like a bigger range, which we had like also for Japan and also Mexico on my end, I just didn't feel like it was necessarily bad for Brazil, so I was surprised there was even guys with low wings, it seems, especially David as well. So just trying to have everything in mind, do the best prep as I can, and just execute a race like Mexico again. And yeah, if Ryan can continue to keep up his good form from today, then obviously having 2 cars at the front can also help, and he's also keen on helping me out with the championship. For me personally, constructors is still the most important thing, where we capitalize on a poor race from Bevish especially. So yeah, just looking forward to minimize on Imola and probably Abu Dhabi before we probably get a clearer picture of who's actually in the fight at the end.
All right, well, we'll look forward to the next few weeks. It should be a very exciting championship fight, if any close drivers' championship battles have ever seen it in past seasons. Thank you so much, Hammond.
Thank you for cussing.
Thank you very much as well. Anyway, back to Rush the Series. Second place for you. Well, obviously, you were one of the ones heavily affected by the reverse grid, but in the end, 15 positions made up and a second place. I think you'll take that.
Yes, I'll take that, especially regarding my pace today. So, yeah, that was, I think, the best possible result for today. So I'm happy.
And of course, going into tonight, what you kind of got a good view of what happened on lap 1 right at the start there. Massive pileup, which of course caused a virtual safety car. How did you work your way through that, or was it just sheer luck?
No, I was on the right side of the track, and everything happened on the left side near the wall. So I could just avoid it and just capitalize on it. It was, for me, it was the kind of okay. The restart, I had to lift a bit because I was ahead of David too early. Maybe I could have held him up a bit more, but yeah, my pace was really not there. I didn't really have time to practice for this one, and I just tried to make my car as wide as possible, and went a few times to the limit. I don't know if it was over the limit, we have to see, but it was fun because I usually don't have these kind of defensive races, and because usually when somebody's behind you, he's so much quicker that he just gets past. But this time I could really like try and defend it. It was great fun battling with the guys.
And of course, 15 positions made up, but a lot of that was also made up because of, like, there were mistakes around you. So obviously going into a race from 17th around a track like Interlagos, not always room to overtake, especially in the middle sections, but there's 2 long DRS zones. Is that where you were going to really make up most of your positions? And did you even expect second place when you actually got underway?
Yeah, I expected to get somewhere ahead. I aimed for a podium because I think there's just like there's a few people who can get to the podium. It's like 4 or 5, so if 1 or 2 struggle somewhere, you're already on the podium.
Mm.
So yeah, and this is really one of the tracks where you can really overtake if you have low enough wings. And yeah, I had my 99 setup and it was kind of okay, but yeah, mostly I just overtook people spinning out and stuff. I almost spun out myself when I desperately tried to stay in Nadja David's DRS on the second to last corner, but I kind of saved it somehow, and just yeah, just stayed on track after that and got the points.
Of course, you and Herman went into tonight tied on points. You now do take the lead, but only really, I think it's by 3 points. Well, no, yeah. I think it's by 2 or 3 points, if I'm remembering correctly. Obviously, Andy Andre had an absolutely dominant performance tonight, 15 seconds ahead of you. Obviously, must be going from the halfway point, going into the second half of the season, at least having some lead over your championship rival Herman here. But, like, are you at all comfortable considering the pace of Andy?
For Imola, yes, I think I can give him a good fight there.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I don't know. Depends on how much I can practice, but I think Imola, I'm pretty quick, and I hope as quick as him. I'm looking forward to having a first real fight for the win with him because up until now, it didn't really happen because of different incidents or just organization, like scheduling and stuff. So, yeah, let's see.
Cecilia, we'll look forward to seeing how Imola goes for you. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the second. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, man, see you next week. Thanks for the comms.
You're very welcome. All right, moving on to last but not least, it is Andy Andre, our winner here, despite the reverse grid, starting from 7th place, got up into the lead, and it just really wasn't even a question of who was going to win when it was after that 15 seconds, Andy. How do you pull these things off?
Man, I actually have no idea. I've been kind of on a different planet the last few weeks. I just came here with really no expectations at all, especially considering the last race I had where I took a really bad beating. So I don't know where this pace came from. Maybe the setup helped, but it just felt incredible during the race. Everything was going my way, except maybe for the 10-second penalty, of course, but that didn't end up having much of an impact.
Of course, yeah. Forgetting about that 10-second penalty, it just really played no real part in how the race turned out. Just before we do continue any further, I do just kind of want to say from myself and everybody at SSRL, congratulations. Of course, I recently heard you did get married, and that's why you weren't with us 2 weeks ago. And I really hope that treated you well in the next stage of your life. But of course, did that in any way play in any motivation for going into tonight? Is that win dedicated to your now wife?
Oh, well, no, sure. She's not my biggest fan, to be honest, but but she watched a few of my races. Sometimes I kind of forced it on her. We love your commentary. To be honest, I always enjoy showing it to others. But yeah, of course, everything okay with the wedding, and looking forward to a new part of my life. And thank you very much for the good wishes.
Of course. Just back focusing on tonight, of course, like you said, you qualified 11th, and then, of course, thanks to reverse grid, going down to 7th. What was kind of the strategy you were going to go on? I knew everybody pretty much did a one-stop, and that seems to be universal around the grid, but were you thinking about what lap you were going to pit on, or was it very much you were just going to play it by ear?
Well, initially the plan was to go as early as possible. I know the degradation on the mediums was pretty bad, and it would have been better in terms of total race time to put the hards on much faster than I did. But taking the 10-second penalty in mind, I was kind of hanging around and waiting for a safety car that would have been a good opportunity to make that penalty have a bit less of an impact. But it didn't show up, so I couldn't postpone any longer. I went as soon as the others around me did, but yeah, happily the race pace was enough to make up for it, and I didn't have to rely on any other event on track events to make it work. So yeah, incredibly thrilled.
And of course, I do kind of have to ask, you are a 5-time champion here in Division 1. You're looking to make it 6, but it just looks like the cards are just stacked a bit too high up this time around. Of course, this is a very good boost, 15 seconds ahead of everybody else. But like, you hear Rush the Series say, can't wait to give you a proper race in Imola. That's where he's quick. And like, do you think you can do it, or is it just a bit too big of a hill to climb this time?
I think it probably is, considering the DNF I had. I think it was in Singapore, and the race I missed. There's a lot of points I gave up, and I've also said this in the past. Considering the point system we have here, the gap from P1 to P2 isn't as big as it is in real F1. So you need a lot of victories to make up for a big points deficit in case you DNF from a race, and we just don't have so many races in the calendar. So yeah, I'm not really confident at this point, but still, I wasn't confident about the day and enjoyed the race a lot. So I'll be here for the rest of the season for sure, despite maybe not aiming for P1 this time.
Well, I've usually seen you do have 2 really bad races in a season, and you still manage to claw it back. So even I'm not quite counting you out just yet. You've had your 2 bad races. I think you've still got a long way to come from, but we'll of course wait and see how the rest of the season plays out. Andy, congratulations on tonight's win, and of course, again, congratulations on getting married. And we will see you next week.
Yep, thank you very much. See you next week.
Yeah. All right, that concludes the podium interviews, everybody. Have a good evening. I'll see you all tomorrow. Okay, well, there is not really much to say about that, is there? Andy Andre just feels like it's a bit too big of a hurdle, but of course, a 15-second win. Do you really want to be the guy that counts him out? I wouldn't want to be the guy that counts him out. He's going to be forever up there. He's still up there in Herman's worries. You know, he's got experience with Herman. Herman has experience with Andy. We got there eventually. And, you know, the table can swing at any point towards Andy. All Herman has to do is have one bad race. You remember in Season 3, Andy and Herman came together, which, of course, was an unfortunate cause for Herman to retire from the race. And that was a turning point in that championship. Of course, there was a few other turning points and all of that. There was that poor strategy in Singapore. But we know these things can happen to Herman. Then they can happen to anybody. Let's not just put Herman under the bus here. Let's put Rossasiri under the bus as well. You know, he had a few bad races in Season 3. That's why he went out of championship contention all the way back when. There is so much that can still go wrong for the 3 above. And Bavish as well. He's had a run of 2 bad races as well, and just at the wrong point of the season as well. And he didn't even touch the top 10. He's in 11th. He's only scored, let's see, 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th, 11th, 5 points. He has been outscored by over 10 points. And Bavish also has a bit of a hill to climb in these next 6 rounds, which are coming up. Which, of course, speaking of, let's have a look. Of course, we'll be off to Imola, not the Temple of Speed, next week. It is very much the track that is now off our calendars. And then we'll be off to the very fast Las Vegas, followed by Lusail in Qatar. Abu Dhabi is then the week after, followed by Miami, and then a mystery Grand Prix, which we are going to telling our story. Thank you so much, Rush. I'll read that in full in just a second. But yeah, the United States and then a mystery Grand Prix. Those are always the most exciting, I can tell you that for free. But obviously, you know, anything can happen. And with Andy Andre's win, I'm sure that puts him back in the picture. What can he do in Imola? Because that's really, really going to be an important Grand Prix for his own championship story. He's had 2 bad rounds already this season. That's usually the amount you can get away with before you start really losing your advantage in the championship. And Andy's had those. And he's come back with a point this evening, even if he doesn't know it just yet. Guys, don't go anywhere. 6 weeks of action to come all the way up until the 22nd of December in Division 1. But for Division 2, it is going to be back tomorrow night. Same place, same time, but with Herman the German in co-commentary. We will see you then. And until the rest of the season, we wish you farewell for tonight. Don't forget to join us, of course, for Division 2. But, of course, it will be Imola next week. Same time as always, 7:30 p.m. GMT now. Do remember that. And, of course, I will try and get the VODs uploaded on time this time. Sorry for the delay on that if you are watching this on YouTube. If you do keep up on there, for the 2 people that may do that, I'm sorry. You are all loved and appreciated all in the same. Anyway, from myself at SSRL, we all wish you the very best, and for the rest of your evenings, all day, maybe even afternoon, maybe even morning, maybe even evening, I don't know. But either way, we thank you for your company, and from all of us, from wherever you may be in the world, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive. We'll see you tomorrow for Division 2, but if not, we'll see you next week for Division 1. Bye for now.